The chapter for today that's going to be covered is chapter 16, Summarizing. Within that chapter, there are multiple learning outcomes that we'll get to later. So the first thing is the quote. The quote is, "There is a great difference between knowing and understanding. You can know a lot about something and not really understand it," by Charles F. Kettering. So the author of this quotation above says that there's a difference between knowing and understanding. What do you think he means by this? Do you agree with him? So be prepared to write this response down and discuss it in class tomorrow. So learning outcomes in this chapter, there are 5 of them. The first one, learning outcome 1, is understanding summarizing. What is summarizing? Learning outcome 2, learning and reading strategies. Learning outcome 3 is reading and reacting to a summary. 4, writing a summary. And 5, practicing additional summary writing. So you can ask yourself, what is summarizing? That's a question that was posed earlier. Be prepared to answer that. The physical act of writing includes recording one word after another, and this helps you to bring your thoughts into focus. Writing a summary tells you how well that you understand the material, and it also helps you to remember what you've read. Summarizing is an excellent way of becoming actively involved in your reading. What does actively involved mean? What is a tool that you can use to help you be actively involved in your reading? We discussed this in a previous chapter, so be prepared to discuss this in class. Learning outcome 1, understanding summarizing. Do we summarize every day? In what ways do we use summarizing in everyday life? Be prepared to discuss a couple of ways in which we summarize. So you want to make sure that you use your own words, except for any specific instances such as dates and names. Those things should not be summarized. They should be kept as they are. But in other instances, you want to make sure you use your own words. Any words that are essential or ideas that are essential, do not reduce those. Summarizing also helps you to share main ideas and leave out details and examples. So when you are summarizing something, confine it to only main ideas and leave out any details and examples. Again, we practice summarizing every day, so think about some ways that we do this every day. And just as a note, summarizing is different from paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is done in your own words, and it does not reduce the text to its basic meaning. It explains the full meaning of any reading. So summarizing is giving you the main points, leaves out details and examples. Paraphrasing, this is in your own words, and it does not reduce the text to basic meaning or just main ideas. It explains the full meaning of a reading. So paraphrasing might actually be longer than the actual reading itself. So keep that in mind. So learning about reading strategies. The next thing we learn is strategy 1, which is a table diagram. And this helps you to keep track of main ideas and key supporting points. Graphic organizers called table diagrams. They work well for this purpose. So the first part, you have the thesis or the main idea, and then you have the supporting points. So an example of this would be for an argumentative topic, if you were going to write about, let's say our thesis, let's say your thesis in this table was the death penalty is just. So that's your thesis. Underneath that, you would need to have 4 supports. So these I have labeled S1, S2, S3, and S4. So be able to, and we will discuss this in class, discuss 4 reasons why the death penalty is just. Those would go here. So reason 1, reason 2, reason 3, and reason 4. We'll discuss this in class. Now learning outcome 2, learning about reading strategies. Strategy 2 is understanding the structure of writing. Part 1 is going to be the introduction, and its purpose is to introduce the topic and state the thesis or the main idea. Remember, a thesis statement tells you what the whole essay is going to be about. A topic sentence tells you what the paragraph is going to be about. The middle paragraphs, they support and develop the thesis. So whatever your thesis statement is, the purpose of all the middle paragraphs are to better support the thesis and develop it. So in argumentation, first you will have your introduction, then you have your middle paragraphs. Within your middle paragraphs, you should have your side, the other side, counter argument or refutation, and the conclusion. The conclusion should go at the end, but your side, the other side, and the refutation, that's all in the middle. So speaking of conclusion, you have the closing parts, and this purpose is to review what it is that has been said and offer additional ideas or two, or can also give insight. So again, no conclusion should ever be a sentence or two. Your conclusion is held to the same standard as every other paragraph. It needs to be at least 5 sentences. So you can restate what you said, summarize all of the points that you've made, share insight. You can lend a solution. These are all things that can be present within your conclusion. It's up to you what you want to choose, with the exception of restating the thesis statement and summarizing. Those are things that are standard in your conclusion, but your conclusion should be at least 5 sentences. We will discuss learning outcome 3 and 4 in class, and this concludes summarizing.